Hello everybody, so for speech 4 I have decided to do the process of criminal investigation. So let's jump right into it. My goal is to teach you as my audience what the process of a criminal investigation is. And on the right side here you can see somebody taking a photo of something in a crime scene. So this side we have who conducts criminal investigations. First and foremost, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, which is the FBI. Everybody has heard of the FBI. We pretty much know what the FBI is. The second one is the Drug Enforcement Administration, the DEA. Again, pretty much everybody knows what that is. It's just used for drug-related crimes. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the ATF, they are basically responsible for the unlawful use, manufacture, and possession of firearms and explosives. They're also responsible for the acts of arson, bombings, any illegal trafficking of alcohol and tobacco. The next one is the United States Secret Service. Again, we kind of know what this one is already. And the last one, Homeland Security Investigation. This one is basically they investigate transnational criminal organizations and terrorist networks that threaten or seek to exploit the customs and immigration laws of the United States. The next slide is the 3 levels of criminal investigation. So number 1, we have the scene of the crime, which is extremely important to the process of the investigation. It gets the investigation right, and it will make the process go a lot smoother. Number 2 is the lab, which after the investigation, the lab will take all the evidence, study, test, and relay back to the investigative team. The last one is the courtroom. And that is basically the finale of the criminal investigation process. That's where they find a charge of suspect, and that is where there is a trial or there's no trial. And on the right-hand side of the slide, we have a picture of our former president, Donald Trump, testifying for himself in court. The steps in the process of conducting a criminal investigation. And these steps are all provided and given to us by the Campbellsville University. Number 1, identify the scene. This is where you locate the main point. If there's a victim, you establish a perimeter large enough to contain any relevant evidence. Number 2, you establish security and media control. Number 3, create a plan and communicate with other employers. That's pretty self-explanatory. This is when you determine the type of crime, you make a plan of what you're going to do after the investigation. Number 4, you identify any potential evidence. So this is where you capture photographs, you locate anywhere that may contain evidence pertaining to the crime. Number 5 is document and process. You begin processing the scene with a plan devised by your team, and you collect all evidence. Number 6, you conduct a walkthrough to ensure nothing is missed. Likely you will not be able to return to a scene. Once you are there, you're there, you get everything, and you're basically done. Number 7, record and preserve the evidence. So there's an inventory log to account for all the evidence that is collected, and there's thorough descriptions for all evidence as well, and this also helps avoid anyone tampering with any evidence. The importance of following the steps in a criminal investigation. No matter what kind of crime is committed, the 7 steps are absolutely important to conducting a criminal investigation, because if they're not followed in that particular order, everything can go wrong. The investigation is just basically shot at that point. So what happens to the evidence after it is documented? The best evidence will be sent to the forensic laboratory for testing. A test called presumptive testing will be conducted, and presumptive testing is a chemical test by production of color or light will indicates the presence of body fluid. And this also determines what evidence is most likely to contain DNA. And the presumptive testing is according to an article provided by forensicsciencesimplified.org. Also, in today's age, we can basically test anything right at the scene because of new technologies that we have nowadays. And on the right-hand side, we have some folks testing in a lab. So the evidence the evidence testing is complete. What do we do now? Investigators will conduct interviews with potential witnesses, anyone involved with the crime, or anyone who may know something about a suspect. So potential suspects will also be brought in for questioning, and the interrogation portion of the investigation will begin. And this part is extremely important because basically if you don't find a lead within the next couple days after a crime is committed, there's a higher rate of it becoming a cold case. And if a suspect turns out to be the perpetrator, they will then move on to be charged and sentenced for a crime. And this photo I have on this slide is a cartoon gentleman being arrested. So the sentencing portion of the criminal investigation process, depending on the crime, a suspect may or may not receive a trial. In criminal cases, the judge is the one who decides. In federal cases, a jury is the one who decides, and there's not always a jury present in a trial. And some criminals do not even receive a trial. And that is because if there is overwhelming evidence or obvious evidence against a suspect, there really is no need to waste your time on a trial because, it's self-explanatory. You don't need a trial if it's pretty obvious. And in this slide, I have a photo of a courtroom. The conclusion of this speech is the process of criminal investigation goes way beyond this PowerPoint. There are so many factors that go into this, and it is because of the 7 steps I listed that it goes smoothly. The criminal investigation process is very detailed. There are lots of aspects that go into it, and investigators have done it the same almost always. And thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed my topic for Speech 4.